Star Country 96.9. Reminder this weekend, we're springing ahead in time. Put those clocks ahead, maybe when you go to bed Saturday night. And I want to talk about that and maybe the health ramifications of which. It is time for Dr. Craig DeLisi to join us this morning. Hi, Doctor.
Hi, Gary. Good morning.
What are circadian rhythms?
Circadian rhythms are just our body's natural clock day to day that sort of helps us with different biological, physiologic processes that we need to do more of during the day versus at night. And it's a complex process that's regulated by lots of hormones, mainly from our brain, that go to different organs that tell us when to do different things. Affects our kidneys, our cardiovascular system, and it's based on our sleep-wake cycle, which is affected by light and dark.
So when we artificially change things like we do twice a year, how does that affect circadian rhythms? Does it adversely affect them? Some studies suggest that it does, and actually certain health risks increase after we change clocks. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's not something I've had a real strong opinion on, but I have read a little about it just because, nationally they've sort of debated in the last few years about ending daylight savings time. And although interestingly, I didn't realize that that's been done 2 or 3 times since it was initiated, and they've always gone back to it. But I think for most individuals, it's not particularly impactful. But when you multiply something by, the entire population of, say, our country that does it, then you do start seeing subtle differences, and particularly in things like car accidents and stuff like that, because I think it does affect slightly sleep quality for some people and when people go to bed and when they wake up, and that definitely has an impact. And so it is something to consider. I think for the average person, they don't notice much other than maybe, for example, someone like me who's not mainly a morning person, and I do better during ordinary time, I guess, whatever it's called, not the daylight savings time, just because the sun's up a little sooner. And then when it's light later, I'm already one who goes to bed a little too late, and so when it's light later, I tend to go to bed later. And so I think for me, I probably get a little less sleep on average during daylight savings. So for most people, I think it's not hugely impactful.
Research has looked into it, and it shows cardiovascular disease, a 25% higher risk of heart attacks the week after a time change. Fatal car accidents, they go up 6% the week after time change. Stroke rate goes up 8%. Coinky-dinkle, or is there something to that?
That's interesting. The car accident one I did read about, and I do think there is for that one, just because, one, you'll have people driving in the dark in the mornings maybe that weren't before when you're talking about the daylight savings starting in the spring. And I think people are getting a little bit less sleep. The heart attack one, that is shockingly high.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can think there is also, having a little less sleep. And I mentioned the circadian rhythm, some of the things that are affected, for example, like our adrenal glands, which secrete different hormones, including cortisol, which is sort of our body's stress hormone, and that's programmed from our brain, and our pituitary gland talks to our adrenal glands and secretes that, and it's usually early morning hours, and kind of gets our body ready for the physical stress of the day, not the mental, emotional stress, but the physical stress. And I wonder if the sleep changes affects when that is secreted, because it is often a time when heart attacks happen, is in early hours in the morning, 4 or 5 a.m., when that's happening, because it raises our blood pressure and different things like that. But that's a super high number, and that's concerning. But yeah, I'm curious what that's the only thing I can think of that could possibly play a role there, but that's high.
Dr. Craig DeLisi with Titus Regional Medical Center. He joins us every Tuesday morning. So next Tuesday, Lord willing, after the time change, we're still here. We'll see how we're feeling next Tuesday after we spring forward this weekend. Doctor, I hope you have a great one. That is Dr. Craig DeLisi with the Family Care Center, Titus Regional Medical Center.